We the talk and right, we the talk and clear from Sierra Leone to everywhere. Oh yeah. Komon-Tok, come make me hear. From the streets of Freetown to the world beyond, we dey yarn about the things we dey hold strong. Political talks, we no go shy. Migration stories should no go die. Entertainment, we go dance to the beat. Health and well-being, make we rise from we sit. It's not a platform, we go speak the truth for the young and the old. Now we voice we do. Komon-Tok, you gon' hear me loud. We no go hide, we go make it
Finance Act 2026, having gone through the committee of the whole House with amendments, I now move that the bill be read the third time and passed into law.
Honorable members, the question is that the bill entitled the Finance Act 2026 be read the third time and passed into law. All those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. That's why Speaker will say the ayes have it, have it.
The bill entitled the Finance Act 2026, being an act to provide for the imposition and alteration of taxes, to give effect to the financial proposals of the government.
Let me approach your next.
How to ensure that we manage waivers. Duty waiver approval is rests with the Ministry of Finance and the NRA, but it emanates from within the whole of government. Heads of institutions, ministers, whether it's in parliament here, leadership, or in ministries, ministers, will make recommendations. We will approve based on the laws that are passed by Parliament. There are laws that relate to the customs. There are laws that have been passed here. There are concession agreements that have been passed. There are Geneva Convention treaties that we adhere to. There are Vienna treaties that we adhere to. And the decision around waivers, I must explain, there are two aspects. There are those aspects where the government is very deliberate, that I choose to waive it because I deem it an expenditure of my tax, especially if it is going towards certain concessions in health, education, manufacturing, and the like. You say we're giving you waivers per law by this parliament because we expect you to deliver this particular, your investment will contribute to this particular aspects of our aspirations. Now, it behoves us to monitor whether that is done, but it's a deliberate decision by government to say, if I will collect the tax and spend this way, otherwise I will incentivize the investments to spend, so that it's deemed as you have spent on this. The one that is really a concern that I think makes sense is the one that is discretionary, which must be limited. Discretionary waivers are waivers that are not right because that's referred to loss of revenue. And that may not be covered by law, right? So that's something that I think makes sense. But the way I understand from an economic point of view, how waivers are given is a deliberate decision by the law to spend your tax by justifiable means. You're not collecting it, but you're doing what they call tax expenditure. I don't collect, I spend, but I define by law why I'm spending it that way. The reason is simple. We should be reporting back to rationalize that decision. If the size of the waiver is too big, then the government can sit back to say maybe we need to cut down. But there is a law passed already on duty waivers and exemption. That law guides us how these things must be done. So I hear the guidance on reporting, monitoring, coming back to be able to ensure that how are we complying on that and audits, and that will be done. I think there's already an executive directive on that, when that report comes, we definitely will be in a position to come and engage Parliament with same that comes out of it. I had the whole issues around, areas for tax payment that are sitting in MDAs. These are matters that we are discussing on how to resolve cross debt. Whether it's EDSA and the like, or even the water companies that people are owing arrears to. We are discussing those as well, even on EDSA that we collect GST and don't get those GST to go to NRA or to the Treasury. All of that is under consideration. Now, I had a lot of questions around the fees that are proposed by the relevant MDAs. There are a lot of justification that they have provided by respective MDAs or why they are making those proposals. I'll give an example for copyright fees that are being adjusted. Very many of the categories that they are making proposals on, there were no fees charged for those, and they are proposing new fees. And there are some where, and a good number of them, I believe, that they have indicated here, they are actually benchmarking with some of our regional peers, with Ghana, Liberia, Gambia. They are benchmarking on what they are charging, and then they are making the proposals. Especially in areas where we were not taxing, or we were not charging fees for services, especially trademark services. They are making those recommendations for us to be upgraded as a way of raising revenues. I have seen for the health, the justifications are here, where the patent fees for the patent fees are adjusted, because I think you didn't get access to the old one, where they are doing for medical examinations for fees. We did not have some areas where they were charging prices. They were charging fees, and there are new areas that they are actually introducing fees for. That's what is there. But whether it has to be for renewal and valuing, those are the things that I see there that they are justifying for raising those revenues. But the whole modality that I want to really emphasize here is this. These institutions, I think, are rationalizing what it takes to render that service and to be able to sustain in a very effective way their capacity to do that. That's why they are raising those fees. I heard for the medical services, we are saying that they are charging for those materials that coming into the country. I think these are one-off fees that you bring in for rendering those services per year. But when they are rendering the service for you, who is going to be using them, they charge you as well very serious exorbitant prices for having access to MRI or those kind of things in country. So the institution has to run. I don't think the intent is to discourage those investments in country. I had a lot on GST proposals. We are supposed to gradually increase to 5 million per a pack of 20. We started off at 2 million last year, or so 2 years ago, and gradually increasing to 3. By next year, we'll go to 4, and then by 2028, we aim to reach at 5. So this is really small gradual, so that at least we'll manage the impact of compliance on the sales of the product. Otherwise, it gets to go under, and you introduce big time smuggling into the system. So there's a very gradual approach here. And we know if you're just one or two people importing, if you bring in bulk, the way the tax system works, you pay at customs, right? Before you go and sell and recoup your own resources. So all of that process of minimizing that impact is what we are doing gradually to ensure that the market grows. But ideally is to disincentivize that of smoking in the country. Now on the issue that you ask around these infant industries that we want to protect. For Maggi and water, I can assure you that we've done a scan of the industry and that we're producing enough Maggi to take care of the country, but we are not enough Maggi to take care of Maggi demand in the country. And enough water to ensure that we don't bring foreign water, salt water into it, or heavy drinking water into this country. There are a lot of farms that are producing quality good water in Sierra Leone that should allow us to get that industry to grow. On tomato products, I know there is one company that is producing. I take note of the concern around the capacity to be able to meet the domestic demand, but I will wish to, I'm not sure of ketchup, but I'm sure that the tomato market must be given an opportunity for that industry to grow. Because I think what they are doing is, when they produce locally here, they attract the Nigeria and the Guinea market. So you want to make sure that the tax system is harmonized in a way that the top tax rates we are importing right there. I think we are importing also from Guinea and those places. So I just want to make sure that for tomato, the industry that is established here is incentivized to grow and be able to ensure that they are challenged to produce for the local industry. I'm not sure of ketchup, but we thought that it would transition into ketchup, and that's why we brought ketchup, because they are all corollary of products. That's why we're trying to make sure that they align. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I heard about technology. I would just want to agree that technology is definitely the way to go for enhancing revenue mobilization by our revenue authority across each and every tax handle. Every tax handle, there is a way to automate and make it easier for people to pay taxes. We have introduced some. For corporate tax, is done by technology through ITAS. For telecommunication taxation, we have NSOP, that is house fast. We have good data on our phones on what is due also on a daily basis of taxes coming from the use of volume of telephone in the country. And that is moving as well to mobile money transactions. We are tracking them. We know the dues that are coming from there, and we are trying to enter into betting. The betting system is not properly managed, but we're trying to enter into that because of some of the criteria that I think it's very important to have a proper grip on the revenues to be generated from there. There's a lot of leakages there that I think with automation and interconnectivity of all the systems can support us in meeting the targets. I just want to assure that the 1.5% additional revenue that we want to collect from these measures may all not come in 1 year. They may come as we are implementing, because you implement and then they all take hold. So by next year, they all take grip. But these measures, total, will have this impact when they are fully implemented. So I'm asking the House to have keen consideration for these proposals, and I move that the bill be read.
So we look for a document so that because I know you want to move. I don't want you to move. There is something I want you to do a brief Mr. Speaker will tell you. We I don't know if I don't know if 2022 or 2023, we did an incentive for investment in properties. For tax incentive, we are doing the corporate tax credit. So that's 25%. Yeah. 50%. No, no, it's not about properties. Out of Western area, 50%. Out of Western area is low. Yeah. So we gave a tax incentive for investment in the properties, and that one was really accepted by all of us in the chamber. And now we are removing the investment allowance that has to do with our investors. But you said in the presentation yesterday, Mr. Kanu said, if we are keeping the accelerated depreciation with that of investment allowance, it's like both of them, it's like double dipping. So we and the opposition leader is not here, but he repeated our point. It was one of the points that he made talking about caution costs. So I just want you to, a couple of what I've asked, if it's not affecting, but they are now said they will give you. I don't want you to just give you, I don't want you to give a brief explanation so people can understand. Because when you talk about investors, people start to look at, oh, we are trying to destroy the gem. And that's why I just decided to repeat the statement that she said at the committee. For tax waivers, you can understand, we have 110. We have, for the constitution, we know this is a point, all of us, we don't blame one another. All of us are involved because we are giving the waivers, we are making proposals. So for us to have a proper system in place, as all said, Honorable Komon, and we should have a disclosure of this waiver on a quarterly or half-year basis. Or when you are coming to talk about supplementary, you should have a clear understanding. So this waiver, you can say, I want to see, because some of the GSTs are time bound. They are not forever. So whether they have expired, they are still rolling them out. So it's not only administrative finance, it's also sits on us that we are having challenges because we are giving it by constitutional condition. They are not only taking it and doing it because it comes to parliament and we do ratification and we give it back. So that's just in passing that we should have to agree on something, that we should look at the waivers on quarterly basis, half-yearly basis, or yearly basis. Before even discuss the money, we need to really review those who are really not responsible to be who have no business to be in the tax waiver bracket. We remove them because maybe they are recycling it to do. For the GS certificate you are giving, it's the same something you are doing now. And I'll give you GS certificate to make sure that if you can only go out to get GS now, you have to generate a certificate to ensure that you are GS come there, you have to work for GS. So it's not only for just for order. For example, yesterday we approved for the bulk, handling bulk for transshipment. Talk about consumables. You know, there is no content policy in place. And if you're talking about consumable, we need to understand what consumable goods you are talking about. So you have a clear list of the consumable you are about to have to do. So just for you to give us a quick one on the removing the investment allowance, which you have said will be and also just the tax constitution. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. On the investment allowance, the law generally allows for deductions from your annual taxes in the depreciation in your capital investments. I think it's 40, 20, 20, 20, or 200 every year when you are doing. But on top of that, we are giving them an additional 5%. On top of that 100, we are giving them additional 5% deduction again. Yeah, on capital investments. So we thought that that's like you are having. It's too much of a largesse for a country that has mostly generating revenues from businesses. And the truth is this: businesses are not reporting profits. And it's not the case that they are even very our capacity to audit their investments is not very robust. Right? For them to be able to ensure that, transparent enough to tell us the size of their investment that will allow them to benefit from that. Okay, but this is something that they will have every year taken, and that's money wasted away, in my view. So we thought that at this current stage where we need to catch up with our revenue efforts, this excessive giveaway to companies who are having, in my view, extensive incentives in their investment agreement, we can claw in on the ones that we know that are purely predictable, which is just because that's a deduction, but then you're not able to audit very effectively. That's why we are taking it off. But every year, if they invest, they will have a way of deducting the size of their investment as they declare. Mind you, we have a self-declaration system, a very self-declaration system by this company, and we only come and audit after some period has passed. And that is only after a certain number of years. And it is very difficult, I've seen it, very difficult to win a case against most of these companies if they start contesting your audit reports. We've seen it. So we thought that right now that we have to be mobilizing 1.5 percentage points of revenues as a government, and we don't want to tax the system that much, for balancing this out, the extra largesse that has been given as incentive, we can claw that up back from the company. Yes, it's the capital allowance. It's capital allowance in your annual tax filing. We will maintain that. It is due every company. But as long as you're investing and you're able to justify the investment, you can claim the depreciation of that investment over time. So we give you that. But on top of that, we add another 5%. I mean, it's too much of a largesse in my view. Right. So and on the second issue around waivers, well, we ask for the second issue around waivers. I agree. This is not about blaming or anything. The law is very clear. We give incentives in investment agreements to companies that are coming to invest for manufacturing, for mining. Mining is really terrible. In my view, we are giving everything, which definitely the country has to think deeply. And because we don't want to create chaos in the sector, that's why we are participating in it so that we can get much of the benefits. And then when most of those long-term agreements with them, when it's time for them to be renewed, we can sit solidly, look at what we are doing, look at what you're doing, and then you have a stronger way to negotiate with them. You cannot go and start tackling them and create disruption in the agreement when, they've used those agreements to go and raise monies internationally to invest. So that's really what it is. But for those waivers that have been given, even in the reports that is going to be, budget statement that is going to be read, annually we catalog everything and disclose. Yes. The budgets, this year's budget, the big book, the estimates we printed, they are part of the budget submission. You clearly see in there waivers and waivers that have been given, which I say is a deliberate decision by the government in its entirety on all those investment agreements and the other conventions that we have alluded to. But also some of those that have been approved that accords different entities or personnels or personalities or individuals, depending on their rank in society, students, new hires, executives or judiciary or parliament, depending on what it is. If it's an annual thing that is given to you for the period that you are here, you are cataloging everything. And that is part of the budget submission. And then we can have in year, half year, like you have suggested, report on this. I think the Ministry of Finance collects very effectively and monitors this. Clearly, it's important to be disciplined because I know every engagement with our international partners, I've actually alluded, as it's been the debate this morning, around being disciplined on how we give away, how we give away waivers and over giving away of concessions. But we have a very competitive, I must just bring to the attention of the House, a very competitive business environment. Manufacturing investments have been increasing phenomenally in the last couple of years. This House approved many investments, manufacturing investment agreements. They're showing all around if you're driving up right from this drafting routes, going into Wellington, going into upcountry, around the Songo axis and the like. Lots of them are coming up. Now, that tells you that our country is attracting investors. And we have a lot of lists of also proposals of people who want to come and set up manufacturing plants here. So our environment is as competitive as it can be to attract investment. I just want us to have that the laws we pass here, they are measured laws that we believe gauges us with our neighbors. So I just want to give that comfort, leader. I on the last point that has to do with the incentives for corporate tax rates for companies that go and establish their headquarters out of the city. Maybe we need to study whether that law has actually materialized that much. Most of the mining companies that are beneficiaries, and they are all in Freetown, most of them. We want to see how that has happened, and I think I'll take responsibility to ensure that we catalog what that means and see if there's any reason for us to have that kind of law at all, in my view. I mean, it may not make sense. If your business requires you to be in the province, I don't think we should over discriminate around whether you should have lesser tax or not, in my own view. But that was a proposal that was done, and I'm not sure of its impact, and I think we can come back to the House and report. Having responded to most of the issues raised, and I think very lively, positive, but also instructive in terms of suggestions, which we'll take on board fully by the Parliament on many aspects around compliance oversight, quarterly reporting. I hear sanctions for non-compliance for MDA. This can be not law, but an administrative responsibility for us. Truly, we will manage our offices and looking at how we reinforce MDA's obligations for whatever tax that they may have. I know the law is very clear. You can't owe PAYE. You can't owe taxes against the law, stuff like that. So those are things that I think is a 0-0. Withholding taxes should not be returned like against the law. All of those, I think, is a matter of enforcement by NRA. Having said that, Speaker and honorable members, I move that the finance bill I move that the bill entitled the Finance Act 2026 be read the second time.
Honorable members, the question is that the Finance Bill 2026 be read the second time. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
The bill entitled the Finance Act 2026 being an act to provide for the imposition and alteration of taxes, to give effect to the financial proposals of the government, and to provide for other related matters beginning in the financial year 2026 has been read the second time. The House resolves into committee.
Before the House resolves into committee of the House, I did not have time to. And I want to lend my voice to a few things I've had, either in the form of the response from the minister or contributions from the leaders and honorable members. Firstly, I hold the view, I had it from Honorable Aaron, and it was echoed by the minister, that part of the reason for introducing an additional 5% to corporate tax is because we don't have robust audit system to confirm what the entities present to us as their audited report, whether it is doctored or whether they are maintaining 2 audits or 2 financial reports, one for their shareholders and another for governments to undercut that. It is good that we go for the difference between the two, but it's also important that we take note of the fact that we must make use of every opportunity we have within the NRA and within our governance system. If there is need for us to use audit service to verify, because what happens is this: the entities present their reports to NRA, it is NRA that confirm and it is NRA that certify that yes, this is the amount to be paid. You see the pain of the minister introducing new taxes or bringing new proposals to this house for consideration. That is the first thing. The second, I said yesterday, we must, and I said this morning again, we must take out our emotions from this process. The minute the house resolves into the committee of the whole house. There are some decisions you take, they are painful. They are very hard, but they are decisions that are necessary. If we don't take painful decisions, then we are not meant to be leaders. As leaders, the decisions we take should not always please or appease everybody, but we take them for the good of everybody. Because at the end of the day, we are accountable not only to ourselves, but to God and to our people. Remember, every day you go out, people tell you, even the ordinary man in the street, he will tell you that power comes from God. Because power comes from God, you can dodge your way here. But one day, sometime, you will go meet him and you will have to explain for your stewardship. So we must make our stewardship an indelible print that people will come and they will see and they will want to copy. I know the Ministry of Finance may be constrained by some of the decisions that we are about to introduce today into this bill. But you should understand clearly that Section 73 mandates us as the supreme legislative body of this country. And Section 105 gives us the power to make law. And in making those laws, we are also guided by Section 40 of the Public Financial Management Act. That when once you present your estimate or once you begin the process of telling us about the budget, we cannot make recommendation to increase the size of the envelope. But we can make a recommendation to reduce the size and give you more money to spend on social services. It is going to be painful because some people may have crafted their proposals for implementation for 2026. But I assure you that by the time we conclude this debate, we'll be able to write back to you about 350 million from your initial appropriation proposal that you have brought to the House. I saw the appropriation yesterday, and I realized that there are some agencies that should not get much, the kind of money that they are getting. Because proposals were made at the time when these laws were passed. And it is good that electronic medium of keeping records is important. Some of us kept those records, and those records, the proposal they brought, they have elapsed. And those proposals, they are still implementing them and they are still getting a lot of money. So before we come to the debate, let me lay, because I'm not going to debate, I will listen and I will guide the process. But let me lay my proposals to the House. At first, we will seek a reduction of some of the allocations given to regulatory MDAs. If you could imagine, say, an MDA, a regulatory agency, is having 410 million as a budget. That is 3 times the amount. You know, my brother, normally he sits in the area and he'll tell you the presidential budget is too high. So imagine an MDA budget is 3 times the size of the presidential budget in this allocation. And it's a regulatory agency. So I have proposed an amendment. I have given it to the chairman for legislative. My amendment covers the introduction of the single window and make it a legislation. I have seen it in the policy statement. It is in the statement of His Excellency. I was delivered to this House on paragraph 209. It is also a consistent budget statement of our dear minister in the budget statement of 2025 on paragraph 33 or 34. It was there that one of the most critical source to ensure that we meet domestic revenue mobilization is to introduce the electronic single window, a system that will prevent underreporting and undervaluation as well as underdeclaration. I don't see why members of parliament should turn the other way for us to legislate that. I am also concerned that we should legislate a reduction initially module of revenues to certain agencies that are regulatory agencies, namely DATCAM, SLME, NPRA, EPA. We must reduce the budget. In the supplementary budget, I remember the Honorable Aaron Aruna Kuruma made a very passionate statement, very strong debate, that the budget, according to him, was an austerity budget. It may not be an austerity budget, but it is a proper budget that is targeting reduction in expenditure. And if we are reducing expenditure, we must be real. In reduction, in accounting, most times they will say it's first in, first out, sometimes they will say last in, first out. But at this point, you will see that we must start from the highest to the lowest. If we cannot reduce the highest, then it means we are only making a joke of the process. So these are my submission, and I entreat the House to look into them so that we can make a law that will help the ministry and help our people. Because it's not only sufficient to say that we must remove the 10 years from the cement without giving an alternative means of recovering that amount. Because what I know is that if you bring a 20 metric ton of cement, if they are going to charge 10 euros on it, it means the ministry will be having around 6.6 million. So, for all I know, we must help the ministry. It is sad that some of the realities that the ministry is faced with every day, when they go to the World Bank and the IMF, if you go to the key now, you will realize that the weighbridge that we use to calculate the tonnage of minerals exported in container is not working. So people have to determine, the mineral companies determine often by themselves what it is. So they are always shipping in excess. And that is why most of the people that does haulage for mining companies, they don't last long. Because the empty container by itself is 4 tons. So if a vehicle is meant to carry 20 tons and the container is 4 tons, it means in that container you must put in mineral, you must load in mineral of the value of 16 tons. But they will load 27 tons. So that is why all of those that have haulage vehicles, if you ask them, those that have haulage vehicles in mining companies, they will tell you that their vehicles don't last for more than a year. Because the actual mineral that they ship out of this country is more than what is required by the tonnage of the vehicle. And when they get to the key, the weighbridge is not working, so they just ship it out. So all of that is a challenge that we must face, and we must face them head on. So I entreat members of parliament for us to look and take a deep dive and make a law that will stand the test of time. Thank you very much, and I think we can now move to the next phase of this process. Yes, sir. What order are you standing on? Mr. Speaker, what order are you standing on?
I am standing on 34, Mr. Speaker.
34 what? Can you read it?
My point needs to be heard, Mr. Speaker.
I want to hear your point, but if you tell me the order you're standing on,
excuse me. No, excuse me.
Hold on, what order are you standing on?
I am standing on general point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What do you have on the order?
34.
34 was 2. 34 2.
Excuse me.
Is it when the point of order has been stated, the member who raised it shall resume his seat? There was no point raised by a member. It was a statement by the speaker.
Mr. Speaker, this is a valid point I'm raising, so you have to give me audience.
I don't know whether you want to wait. Hold on. I don't know whether you want to wait during the committee.
It's a point that may even validate your point you are just making to the house. No, it's not. It's not. It's a point.
I still want to.
My solution be help.
Hold on, already. I still want you to wait for the committee stage and you get to it. Please. Thank you. Yes, please.
The House resolves into committee of the whole House.
I thought we were going to wait for the motion of 51-1.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This now Komon-Tok. In case you don't know. Oh, yeah. Whenever we pledge with love and loyalty to his sweet mama alone. Now we all come together as one.
That's how the metric
For tomorrow, now we go make sense.
Which of course has all what it takes to supply electricity, all the rural electricity code that our energy sector needs. I think that we should also make sure that the importation of those wooden poles, that we have the capacity to even produce beyond as we speak. Now we see next one to Liberia and Ivory Coast, because EFTA is having challenges to even uptake of it. So I think that we have to make sure that we also increase or put a tax for those wooden poles that we imported. I feel so, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, just for clarification, because now we are dealing with two different purchase codes. So does this come as number 11?
Is it number 11? No. Minister, is it coming? Should it come as number 11? Come at 11.
No, let's just get the clarification.
Yes, Minister, go ahead.
11.
So it come as 11.
Okay. So this will not be the area to do the adjustments. It will come on the other bits on customs, but we do take notes and will be guided appropriately. Even the HS code, we may need to confirm with both Ministry of Finance and NRA customs on this.
I think the HS code is correct because I have the compendium, and the compendium confirms that it is 4415. But it is tariff item. It is tariff item.
Before we proceed.
Mr. Minister, it's crossed my mind during the debate, but whilst you are responding, I'm sure it must have been an oversight that in the submission of the leader, he made mention of the object that you do have with you. I will entreat you to read it before we proceed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, we do note the observation. We'll provide the objects of the bill to the clerk for insertion into the bill.
Do you have it?
We do have, my team will provide, but the correct rendition to read in the legal framework will be provided.
I hope that suits the comfort of the house, because
Yes.
for the purposes of rendition and correctness, it's
Yeah.
better we get the correct rendition given to the clerk instead of him reading any rendition that would not be acceptable at the end of the process.
Chairman also.
No, hold on. Anyway, Chairman can carry that one. He has made commitment for us to look at it. You look at it, so let's proceed.
Okay. Yeah, Minister, let's proceed. So on page 2.
Yeah, on page 2, the suggestion is in the appropriate place as correct. I mean, as recommended. Will be guided on the specific HS codes for the respective items.
I agree.
Yes, thank you.
I agree. So the submission is carried.
Mr. Speaker,
Yes, sir.
again, another one is. It's not for me. Mr. Speaker, when you also look at nails we import into Sierra Leone, we have nail factory here, and I think that will also be an area to generate revenue for the states and also deal the local industry we have here. And some of these things will not have any telling effect directly on the people, and it's an opportunity. So I also want us to add nails because we have factory for that here. Thank you, sir.
So you are suggesting that we include, when the HS code they will confirm, but from what I have is 7331, maybe it's not correct. Yes, 73.31. What are you recommending? You just say we should add nail. You have not made a recommendation. Should it be 35%? Yes, leader.
As much as we are protecting the own industries, we're also taking cognizance the market satisfaction. We during the time that we have that post tax on imported, the one that producing in this country can satisfy our market. So when we are putting taxes on imported commodities, you have to bear in mind the data we know how to generate revenue. When the situation where we impose and we have shortage of those goods in our market, to pose a problem for our consumer. So I'm saying I agree with you if you have the data that you can accept, but let us have the data. We cannot impose, perhaps they are not even producing in larger quantities. We are going to know how this is. We are using names. We are using that different, we have different grade of names. There are 4 inches that the upper grade and lower grade. We really don't know what type of material they are producing for our market satisfaction.
So you have never been a carpenter, but a carpenter before.
Well,
so nails are nail and course. Remember me, the camera.
You have different grades. I can tell you for free.
Yes, I
There are
know.
4 inches, there are different sizes, and also they are still made for. But I'm not against the issue of raising taxes. I'm talking about market satisfaction. If you say you impose taxes and what you are producing cannot be sufficient for the market you have, we start to see problems coming up. But if we can give all that data, that the reason why we want to, we want to improve our manufacturing industry. We want to protect them. As you have said in consultation, we want to protect them. Protecting them is guidance expert. Honorable Aaron, raise that one when we are talking about those production of tomato, eggs, etc. And for the tomato, I need to understand that we are even exporting to Nigeria. We are exporting to Nigeria on that place. I got that data for the egg. I also caution them that let us look at it critically. And what I think you should be thinking, when not this incentives, for example, the feed to be for our poultry and other things. Drugs or not for the treatment of
Poultry farmer is adding.
Oh, yes. Everybody needs so many things. So many things, and it's vital, it's critical for the livelihood of running this thing, for the funds that follow. So if we get something and the funds at the end of the day, we have to help our manufacturing industry. Supporting the consumer market. That's what I'm saying.
I agree, and maybe his proposal will not be 35%. Maybe we'll move from the 5% that is currently in existence to maybe 10 or 15. And it's gradually. That will not discourage importation, but it will encourage mass production by the current, because if they don't have incentive, if they are competing unhealthily with foreign importation and are being dumped into our market, then it reduces their potential to perform at a bigger scale. So if we put it maybe from the 5 to around 10 or 15, maybe that would make a gradual difference. Mr. Speaker, let's go 20.
Mr. Chairman.
No, let's go. 20.
Mr. Chairman,
Well, let's go 25.
Mr. Chairman, it is unreasonable to me, in my opinion.
Yes.
Why? As the leader of
Point of
government, I just said.
point of order. Sorry, you propose yeah, it's not originally. The words.
No, he said it's the amount.
The amount?
He said the amount.
Okay, sorry. So, Mr. Speaker, Chairman, let me. I am not asking for the option.
No, you're asking for data.
I am for data, not for the past experience. I told you about it. So the previous is not able to stand there. We did the last time we were here, but we also advocated for them for production in terms of the last finance bill. We don't know the status of our country. My fear is that we don't want to have a fluctuating market where we have instability in terms of products in life. So we are saying if somebody can first tell us, we have the experts here, say, okay, say 25% now, 20%. 20%. So if you want to have an agreement, then okay, I want to hope it's not affecting the market.
No, not affecting the market. What I know is, I know there are, I think, 2 or more companies that are producing them locally. One is along this peninsula.
Yeah. If you buying nails, you see even the packet, you know they are locally made. Yeah. Most of the ones we use for our domestic purpose constructions are all locally made. And for some of us who are in the border areas, we know now that Guinea is, people are taking nails again from Guinea into our market, which is disturbing the local industry. So we are only saying we have enough in the market already when it comes to nail. Our industries are producing. These are not items we eat on a daily basis. It's not like rice or like other products. This one of fear. This one, whatever effect, whatever you do, the effect will not be that much. It's just protecting and inducing the local
Chairman, I think 5, propose 5.
Yes.
I think almost 5.
No, yes, the proposal is 5 plus 5.
5 plus 5.
Then 25.
All right, no problem.
Minister, are you okay with that?
I want to raise more revenues.
Yes, so you see, I'm Minister, you see, This is the spirit of the
Yes,
finance bill.
I want to raise more revenues, but we'll advise on the ECOWAS brackets for, because there are different brackets for issuing customs tariffs. They are in the brackets. So if you're moving, you move to the appropriate bracket. That's how we decide.
So we
They're not above. So I believe you must make it consistent, harmonize it with the others. 35%.
It's 35, right?
Yes.
ECOWAS is 35.
Let's go for the
No, they say it's 20 now.
Mr. Chairman.
If I sit there, I never will Honorable members, so the proposal is we move from 20 to 30. All in favor of the proposal, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. But the ayes have it. Page 3. Yes. Page 3. Yes, honorable afternoon.
Mr. Chairman, I want to express my gratitude for the minister for this compliment. But at the same time, let us bear in mind that he said we want to increase the prices of the tobacco gradually from this year, next year, and so forth. We have to face the fact that the number of children are dropping in our school by asthmatic attack, and our public places are not protected. So the only way we can have deterrent to this addicted smokers is when we increase the price and increase more revenue. Otherwise, we are creating more areas. I have got a report from even university students in the examination hall. The number of students that have dropped during exam period. Last week, Thursday, we experienced that a child was up at this gallery and dropped because of an attack. So this can only happen with our environment congested. So therefore, Mr. Chairman, I suggest that these prices on the prices on the tariff 98 million per kilogram, they are very small. I want to suggest that we increase that price. So that, because these people who are notorious in this, yes, Mr. Chairman, these people who are notorious of this particular habits, they can afford it. So if you can increase the amount of money, and you also said that you are doing this in order to make sure that those who are bringing this product do not go underground. That will just increase the job rate of them who are monitoring our borders, so that we make sure that they can pay the requisite tariff for them. So this amount money stated on page 3 on manufactured tobacco, I believe we should increase this amount. What's your proposal? My proposal should be like 120 million per kilogram.
Now the key one against
Instead of 98
per kilogram for manufactured tobacco, is proposing 120 millions. Out of cigars, chariots, cigarillos, containing
to be
tobacco.
like 50 million. That one should be 50 million.
His proposal is 50 million. It is his proposal.
And then the cigarettes containing tobacco, instead of 3 million per pack, let it be 10 million per pack.
I'll tell you this why. You're not able to tell me after me. I want to tell you this why.
Let me go to 3 million is like 3 times. I mean, let's think about 5 million.
5 million. The proposal is 5 million. Sorry, let me take the chairman for the finance committee.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if I raised the issue of when from the committee I use their own terms in terms of acting on this land. Valorant. I use that term because it was used yesterday and we know the meaning in the Latin word. They say they are away from meaning. So I asked the minister, we should be saying consistent with what we have said before. So you talk about two important and the impact if we say we are going to impose higher taxes. We all know the casualty, the factors cost. Not that we are trying to fight. We are saying it's a gradual process from this percent to this percent. So that's why you did explain. And I note the contribution from my honorable colleague on the other side, on this side behind me, talking about the impact of the negative impact on our children. We are still asking you if you want an increment based on what he has proposed, and based on what I asked. Can we increase or reduce gradually? Where do we start? Because you are saying you have to have a minimum, let's say because of the issues coming up. I say it's a killer product for me. That's why it's switching by information. Yeah, it's a killer product. So it's even written on it, it's just for head. But we can also discourage those who have the taste, who have the habitat or desire to shisha and all that. So you told us the last time that in fact, I don't know the reason of that the shisha is more harmful than the tobacco. So we ask for more tax to be imposed. So can we look at can we do something? If you have to seek a bill, you have to move or come back.
Let me advise. Mr. Chairman, the proposed increases are they are not small. They are not small. We are moving from 2 to 3, that's 33% increase. That's what it is. It's not small, it's really very high. The percentage terms is high. We are not using ad valorem here, we are using a specific tax because we want to be able to effectively count and discourage the tendencies of under-declaration and the like. So we are sure of the revenue to get by the volumes that are imported into the country. So that's really what we're doing. If you say it is by the value of what you import, they can under-declare, and then you lose your money if you are using ad valorem. So that's because the ad valorem is a percentage of the value declared. But this one, I will know the number of sticks that you bring into the country, and now for every cigarette that is imported into Sierra Leone, we are using stamp duties on them. So those stamp duties counts each and every stick. So when it is stamped, when it comes, you know right on the port of entry, the total number of sticks that do come into the country, you apply the Leone value per that carton or per that packet, and their numbers are calculated, then you know the number. That's why we're actually applying it this way. But for each of these other proposals, we have a plan for up to 2027, 28, 27 on the increases that we must do on tobacco. But we should understand the application of this law as well. We want to make sure that there is compliance in the collection of the tax. So you don't overtax in the way that this market goes under, or the one or two people who are bringing the goods in don't have the capacity to pay the tax. So the tax has to be effective as well, both in administration and it can bite. So that's why I believe the proposal we have made is a proposal consistent with the medium-term strategy, and we are gradually getting there. So our proposal, I know the health impact is very powerful in the way it has been laid, because we know the effects on persons here, including the other terrible drugs that the kids are taking that destroying them. So, but we are very gradual in the way we are applying the taxes just for reasonability. Health is fundamentally underneath this one, and I think we are catching up with it. So our advice, the proposal that we are making as a ministry, really stay as it is. We allow NRA to implement, And then we come next and assess for additional activities.
Okay, we'll take the comfort. Honorable member.
Yeah.
Honorable.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'm satisfied with the explanation of the minister. I just wanted to do my presentation. I promised some university students and some students in some schools that have complained to me about this, and I promised to do something, and I don't believe.
And I'm sure you'll be satisfied.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I wanted to have made mention on this imported egg, but unfortunately, I did not catch your eye. And my colleague here went to pick 3. Out of experience,
Taking us back.
please, Mr. Speaker, it's important. You have not gone far. I stood up, but I did not catch your eye. I'm
So
sorry.
you are
The minister has done perfectly well, imposing 35% on imported eggs. But that is not going to solve the problem. I must tell you that's the naked truth. The competition is even going to be heavier than before. What is happening now? The local poultry farmers are not equipped to supply the market. I must tell you, they are not equipped to supply the market. So what I'm suggesting, there are other poultry-related imported materials. I want us to give them 0 tariff. Once that happens, the local poultry farmers will be equipped to maintain their poultry to supply the market. Otherwise, at the end of the day, they will still impose 35% on imported eggs, and the cost will be high because the local farmers will not be able to supply the market. We will still live on the imported eggs, which is very high cost. Unlike if the local farmers are encouraged, they are encouraged. I told you yesterday, even to have access to loans is a whole lot of problem. And if you want to support the livestock farming, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Chairman, will have to do something about it. Otherwise, we will impose all these big tariff on the imported eggs, we will get the money, but at the end of it all, it will not yield dividend because we will be suffering. The local farmers will not be equipped. Mr. Speaker, at the peak of my farm, I used to collect 14 cartons per day. The 14 cartons is not even enough for both. It's not enough for both. People stand there waiting when the boys buy and take it home. So that means, and I'm the biggest farmer in Bode Street. Poultry farmer in Bode Street. That tells you, even if we have that my size farm, we have 4 or 5 in Bode, it will not be still able to supply Bode. That's the naked truth I'm telling you. So, what I am suggesting, the positions, the 35%.
Have you included your poultry in your asset declaration?
For sure, Mr. Speaker, you know I'm very low. You know that very well. So, I'm Mr. Chairman. I'm allowed Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this is serious. This is serious, Mr. Chairman.
Are you suggesting a reduction?
No, I'm not suggesting a reduction. There are other poultry-related materials like drugs, concentrate. Now the cost of concentrate has even increased. We used to buy it 1,350 euros. It's now 1,400 euros.
That is because of demand.
The demand, and they are paying duties for it.
That is a demand and supply issue. So if you add tax on it, the price will increase.
Tax are attached. So we want them to be tax-free, poultry-related imported materials. I am suggesting.
So they are tax-free. I remember we passed one finance bill here.
The minister will respond on that. They are tax-free. What I'm saying is because 2 weeks ago I went to buy concentrate from somebody else, and he said it's 1,400. I said no, it's too much. Why have you done it? Hey, with the SO2, will they pay this? Will they pay this our taki? Will they pay this our taki? So that is why we are before the house, and I told him that I'm going to make it known to the public. So we know if it is free, then we'll tell them that no, this is duty free. No, Mr.
Mr. Minister.
Mr. Chairman, yesterday I started the presentation.
Honorable members, your undertones are way above undertones.
In Amocha, we are trying to protect our own goods, our own production. We're also looking at the market, production versus consumption. Mr. Chairman, I said something very worrisome. said even if the biggest farmer in terms of they cannot even satisfy the market to go. And we are imposing tax on imported eggs. The imported eggs whom the local egg production only couldn't satisfy the market. If you take that out, put more cost on them, thinking about we said we want to look at this issue of or how we are sensitive to poverty-related issues, that we cannot do things like to punish those who cannot really provide. And we know the essential validity of egg, protein, etc. Essential. I want us to
Some of us have not eaten them for a long time. Some of us have not eaten them for a long time.
I want us to make a plea on it and do a background consultation on it. Whether we have to be in position, I asked for the potato, for the tomatoes. He said it's okay because we are exporting this. I don't have problem, have it. For this one, the eggs, we are sometimes complete information. So, Mr. Chairman, together with the minister, we are not against imposing. We are giving you the laxity to long data increment. We also need to be punished with data to make sure that if we impose that, try to limit the importation of these goods. It cannot affect the consumption of our people. It cannot also force them to go and buy egg instead of 5, 10, 50 million per dozen. You now force to buy 100 million per dozen. Be careful to have a progressive policy that will have a positive impact on our people, not to the reverse. I'm not against it. I asked for data. When we are talking about it, only we are raise the issue of production. We have not got that data. The only one I got quietly is for potato. And tomato ketchup, we also talk about it. They said, oh yes, we need to improve. So we can also be able to vitalize our market. For egg production, I know he has served the eggs over 3 or 4 dozen on 2 occasions.
Give me 1 dozen.
So he gave you 1 dozen. So if he's talking about this is worrisome. So I want us to look at it critically and see what we can do. That is just my solution.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Just yesterday we were here and we also passed an agreement empowering the poultry farmers, livestock farmers. And if you look at part of the agriculture in this country, we've invested into agriculture on the poultry farmers, huge investment. What are we saying now as a nation? We're saying because we keep investing in this sector, we must also protect them and let them see the viability and the market opportunity. We must not have everything already made before we make the laws. We are making the laws to protect them, so other people who are importing eggs will see the need to invest here. So it's not like we are saying, okay, the eggs are already in the shelves to be supplied. No, that's not what we're saying. We are making incentive that if you bring them in, you pay more tax. If you produce locally, you have no tax. So you choose. It's a situation of choosing. And for some of us who are here yesterday, we know there is a grant now that government has brought in for empowerment of local farmers. You now have the opportunity that I know if I produce, the market is already there. Because one thing Honorable Kekwan has not said to us is they also constrain to store the ones we are producing in. So preserve them is a challenge. So we must have a ready-made market where they produce and they sell, because we don't have methods of preserving those eggs. Storage facility is a problem. Let's don't, Mr. Leader, I understand with you that we because of the supply chain markets and everything, but let's create the opportunity so people will see the viability in that industry and invest. That's my thing.
Based on policy drive that is clearly stated. We know our colleague has an interest. So it's a system as of proper policy drive. He said, let's continue with bars and give it a try. We can give it a try. And I think what we need to do, like you have said, rolling out, giving incentive, and even the grants for study is good to also care for. I know very well that they have even taken over from poultry farm, they are giving a lot of resources. So let us assume that it's a positive policy. So let's give it a try. Yeah.
So we stick with it.
The other thing is construed me.
No, it's okay.
We don't need reaction.
It's okay. Page 4,
You do not listen to
Chairman, still on
page 5.
still on page 3, Mr. Chairman. Still on page 3.
On a different point,
Mr. Chairman,
can I lend my voice on this point before the leader take
You are
up
too
a
late for
different
every
point?
point.
Mr. Leader,
can I give you the floor after the leader?
I can wait.
Besides, you should know you should not even contest it. The principle of senior is always. The minute you see him stand up, you know you should not stand up. You should apologize.
And it's always gets your advice.
No, you should apologize.
Even on his own side.
Yeah, you should apologize.
And then he's.
Are you ready to apologize? Very well, sir. Right.
You have father's blessings.
Mr. Speaker, I thank the leader of government business for accepting the proposal of honorable member from Bo. It's a general concern, not just because of his own interest. You know, this is my confided economics. You know, when you talk about cost of production determines price to a very large extent. And feed concentrate is very important in production of poultry products. So if that one becomes zero tax, it will be good for this country. But my own point is on a different note. But this time, his proposal is like saying, Mr. Minister, give up that tax. Okay? My own point now is on a different note, but it's encouraging you to take tax. Take tax instead of you choose taking no tax. And that is on items 8, 9, and 10. Items 8, 9, and 10. Maybe 10 will be, I will have a second thought on 10. But for 8 and 9, that is cooking stoves and accessories, and solar panels above 300 watts. Below. Below 300. Yes, I know. So for cooking stoves and solar, Mr. Chairman, I have submit that users of those items are at least above average energy. And besides, the nature of the assistance tax free, it has nothing to do with pricing. So they're still very expensive. And of cooking stove, and the way we are going now, it is good we start harnessing this profit now, because in the next 10 years, the world is going solar. Renewable energy.
So do you want us to say zero, or do you want us
No,
to...
we need to tax it. We need to tax it. But I have two scenarios. On this taxation. Best case scenario, we tax it commencing 2026. Worst case scenario, we tax it and then we divide it to 2027. Those are my two scenarios. But in any case, let us tax it.
So what is the correct tariff, Minister? What is the correct tariff?
It's zero.
No, the correct one. They are proposing zero. What is the correct one? What is the correct tariff on this? On HS code 8541.4200.
Before I answer that, let me appeal to let the proposal stay as is with zero. The revenue we are losing here is just about projected 3 million, which in my view, yes, for the importance of the concession and reaching out. I know in Cambia, for example, there's a project that we have where we are lighting nearly each and every household. And that volume and the impact is huge, and we are trying to do that across the country. And then there's the whole aspect of the stove, the cooking stove, where we are trying to have those stoves manufactured in Sierra Leone, but with opportunities for us to have carbon credits on top of that particular manufacturing. As long as people are using it and we are collecting the data to show that we are reducing emissions. So this is it's a very smart tax decision in my view. But you are preferring other things in the same tax that's going to bring more money. So you're preferring plywood, you're preferring poles, nails. So they cover up for that in my view. So that's the way we should look at it. And I think it will be very it is very impactful. Let me talk to poultry. Honorable leader of the House, you asked for data. I've asked my colleague, the Minister of Agriculture, to provide data. We are consuming, the demand in the country for eggs is 200 million eggs for this country by year. Current production in the country is 80 million by those who are operating in the market. So we have a gap for about close to 120 or thereabouts million. There are 4 big players. The honorable there is one. Yes. There are 4 big players in the country. Right? So those 4 big players, once they go into scale of production, they can push 150 million into the market to meet demand. Now, this money we are asking for, this tax that we are asking for, it's based on egg. It's basically to mobilize the revenue to support them. This is really the impact. On top of the existing agreements that have been passed, yes, that have been passed by this House yesterday. So yes, so this is very targeted. We're not going to be spreading too thin. We are going for the jugular and make sure that we can meet national demand, right? So that's really the whole thing that we are asking, that give us the power to go and collect and implement those projects. What he has asked for, to be able to make it available for you. So that's the case here. It's a balance. It's a very balanced tax as well. Smart one. Yeah, it's a very balanced tax. You need to raise the money to provide you to have access to those inputs to provide for the market. So that's my case, Mr. Chairman.
So leader, if we are to make an investment plan, I will advise you to prepare now and invest on not poultry, on these zero items. We buy solar, we supply the market. So by the time there is tariff on it, we would have made our money and go for it. I'm just advising you because the honorable AKK is a huge investor in solar.
That is why it's because of conflict of interest. That is why it's not like
Mr. Chairman, you know, this minister can we you know, the strong policy that left it to the minister of our president.
So in silence.
You know, you are everything effectively that was unable to talk. You are just praising him. You know, it's a very good one. I think we this is a proposal, anticipation that we have for our farmers. We are giving them the same thing. By making plea to him that we have allowed him to increase taxes. Next year, so it's not far from what he said. He cannot collect all the monies that we're talking about now. And the issue that he can get him into scale of readiness and taking into our going to consideration our colleagues. So it's gone. He was fried so quick. So we are saying you do some scale of reference to consider them. Going to the 0% of solar. You know, that's our experience from giving zero taxation. But you know, this business, we have to also see that we are giving. They are not lash everything on implement taxes. They are giving some leverage. I think they'll accept that no matter what they are looking at. You cannot be seen. That's why I was very first one on the memorandum and objects. And luckily we accepted. It's need to raise revenue. But sometimes when you give, it takes some. We need to show to the people that we are very reasonable. To say we are going to impose when exactly as we have consideration in our own activities or whatever.
domestic usage. They should give them no matter people are going to definitely escape, make some profit. But I understand what the community issue. You are not got a very good example of how to do that. We miss that one and right because there are other factors like this is something that is coming to involve. And people are trading, and we are making so much of that. So what we just need to act like is for us to see that we need this zero taxation, there is some impact on our So for me, leader, let's give it to Mr. You are giving let us give this one so that we can move on.
Thank you, leader.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Yes, it's me, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman, I still want the minister to clarify two things with respect to the taxes. He said, according to him just now, what I have said, if I understood him very well, he wants to use that money to support those in that area, engaged in that field. The question is, what if it discourages those that are importing eggs into the country? We do not have the taxes we are aiming at to support those engaged in the production of eggs. That is one. Where will we get money to support them? Secondly, what if those engaged in the production of egg cannot supply our market? Will it not have a ripple effect on the prices? Because what we are thinking about now is how we can get the money, which is very important for any government. But do we think of those that are importing eggs, if they stop bringing eggs, what will be the effect? You are not eating eggs, I know. But you've not given any of us the eggs that are already brought to your office. I am one of your closest allies. You
don't forget Ibrahim, the father of many nations.
I know, Mr. Speaker. But we must pay attention to these two critical things. These 2 points are very important. If they stop bringing eggs, we will not talk about taxing them. They will.
No, they will not stop.
They will stop. Honorable member, on my floor. On my legs. I allow you did your presentation. You are a producer. I know you need that money. You need to be supported. But I am thinking about those that are bringing eggs. We are putting them out of business because if they cannot generate the income they need, they will not bring it. They will leave it to you. And if they leave it to you, that money will not be available for you. If that money is not available, where will they get money to support you?
Okay, honorable member, let me address this. Hold on. Let me address this. And we are going to move to page 4. Let me address this and we are going to move to page 4. Firstly, the minister has laid bare what is the total consumption and what is the production level in country. That is one. 2, the anticipation is with the increase in tax, it does not only provide financial incentives that will be given to the big players and encourage smaller players to come into the markets, but it would also create an enabling environment because already in 2019, the finance act of 2019, the Ministry of Finance proposed and this House passed that people approaching banks for agricultural loans concerning piggery and poultry is 0. So your GST or whatever you're paying is 0. So the ministry has given sufficient incentive to A, collect money and support them, B, to open the floodgates for them with commercial banks so that they can expand. Because if Kekua expands, they would increase my supply from 1 dozen to maybe 3. So I think we close that. We'll close this discussion here.
Mr. Chairman,
and we move to page 4.
Mr. Chairman, let me help you a little bit, please.
Mr. Chairman, the only correction I want to make here. Mr. Chairman, I don't want any information here.
Hold on, Alaji. I did not give you the floor.
Alaji, I have the floor. Mr. Chairman,
I did not give you the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I think what is missing there is the classification of eggs. We have necessity goods, we have essential goods, we have luxury goods. So let us see, when you have those classifications right, then you will know the impact of tax on those commodities in terms of demand and supply.
Yes.
In the case of eggs, I think the eggs are not necessary goods for this country. So if you impose, yeah, it's not. Yeah. How many of us are eating eggs on a daily basis? Buying eggs to our constituents. So imposing tax there have little or no impact on the well-being of our people. So we can maintain the already stated tax, Mr. Chairman.
You know, I should be advised by my clerk, and the advice you are giving me is that I should move at electric speed.
It's time. The class there, you can go to your office. You are used to this. But on a more serious note, Mr. Chairman, let us move on and leave the tax as it is. The other impacts are insignificant. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief Budget. So page 4. No, we're on page 4. Page 5?
Page 5, Mr. Chairman. Page 5. Clause 4, the second line.
Minister, you're not ill. Nobody has mentioned anything about it. No, page 5.
Page 5, clause 4, the second line to delete one of the days after royalty.
Okay, even on page 2, sorry, there is a correction here. 2, section 2, the schedule to the Custom Tariff Act 1978 is amended by repealing and replacing part 2 with D of the following. So you have to make a correction there.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, so page 5, you say correction on
clause 4, the second line. Replacing the definition of royalty with D. 1D should be deleted.
Okay, 1 deleted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Page 6. I told you we are moving at lightning speed. Page 7. Page 8.
Page 8, Mr. Chairman. 11.
Hold on, that's outside was to get everybody out.
Mr. Chairman, clause 11, it should be paragraph L instead of paragraph I.
11.
Yes, subsection 3 by repealing paragraph. Yes.
It's not I.
Yes, it's page 8.
That is page 8. Page 9.
Page 8.
Page 8, I have another.
Page 8, paragraph E, the last paragraph at the bottom.
Paragraph E. E of clause 12.
Line 2. The word not is repeated there.
Not should be deleted.
So you delete 1.
Yes.
You retain 1 and delete 1.
That was what we were looking for money, not, but we could not get it. It was 1 million. We are looking for not, but we could not find it.
Manchester United.
It's United, we are looking for not, but we could not find it. The whole it was here. Page 9. Page 10.
Page 10, Mr. Chairman. 16.
16 was my area of interest last year.
Okay, 16,618. I'm just taking it to the stones.
This year, I'm not interested here.
Just a few correction with the figures. 618 on the 16. Stones other than dimension, stones and marble. The 1750 changes to 1050. The 17 changes to 10.
Is it 10? Minister, is it 10?
Should be 10.
It's
Yes.
10?
Yes.
And after we have passed this particular clause, I will demand compensation from the minister. And the leader is going to be my. No, it's going to be my leader. Mr. Minister, I think I've presented to the House that after this particular amendment, I'm demanding a compensation for me.
Yes.
So 7 change to
yes.
0.
Let me take you through the rest, Mr. Chairman. Then the $350 changes to 200.
So 350 changes to 200. Okay.
Then we go to B.
17.5, 7 changes to 0, so it's 10.5. And on the line immediately after, 350 changes to 200.
200. Now B, the $35 becomes 17.5 or 1750.
17.5 replaces 35.
17.50, yes.
How about 700?
Yes, and 700 becomes 350.
700 becomes half. 350. Are we in agreement? This is loss of revenue.
Because it was an error as I reliably informed, but then the minister can.
That is a huge error. That is not a typo. Typo cannot change 7 to 3. But I'm demanding compensation, so.
No, thank you. Yeah, the corrections are in place, Mr. Chairman. There was an error on the original proposition. So the Honorable is correct. Thank you.
Okay. And on 2, I would want to make clarification before it gets to the public. On 2 plus 2, it says this section shall be deemed to have come into effect on the 9th day of May 2025. It is retroactive, and it is retroactive because already there was a pronouncement pursuant to section 40, subsection 4. When this law was passed, that is why I'm demanding compensation from the minister. When he introduced it, I told him that this figure will not help us. I will not get a single export from the initial figure that was proposed. So he has come back to the figures I proposed last year. So because of consideration, the president honored his powers to also enter into treaties and propose amendments. He proposed that there should be some amendments for revenues to be generated instead of revenue stalling. So that is why Parliament is asked to invoke section 106, subsection 5, to give it a retroactive power pursuant to section 44. I hope we're in agreement.
Mr. Chairman, on this particular issue, I don't know how it will be applicable for taxpayers. But in the first place, failing to pay in the first place attracts penalties in the first place. And this one is almost 5 months backwards. So in the first place, it applies to those who have not complied so far, up to now.
No, it applies to those who have complied already, but they are not protected by the law passed at the time.
So meaning they will be refunded?
If there is
excess,
yes. For the excess, they will be given tax rebates.
So for this retroactive effect, the real effect is refunds. Or rebates. Okay, fine, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, on the same dimensions too, I think I have one of the factories in my constituency that is not only processing dimensions too, but has gone beyond just the shaping of the dimensions too, to even producing tiles. And to some extent, they are even producing furniture from the marbles themselves. So I want to know which category of tax will it fall, because for most of the times, I think they are processing them for the external market of movies. So which category of services should we tailor them? For the tiles they are processing for international market and the furniture from stones that they are processing.
Minister, is it import duties? Is it export? Is it royalty or is it export? Or it's royalty on export? Minister?
Yeah, for these are for raw dimension stones where no value is added. That one is attracting value addition and the like. Full size, and we'll have to come with a completely different law to regulate and tax that particular activity. I'm not sure of any company manufacturing tiles in Sierra Leone.
There's one in my 91.
One
very good marble chairs.
Yes.
And also furniture from marble stones.
They are very good marble chairs.
Those are high value. Those are high value. They are high value tiles.
I understand the video to you. Are there not laws for you to ensure register with NRA before you start those activities?
No, they are registered with EPA. They've gone through all of the process, but they were extracting it at the raw stage, and they thought of giving it value. So they've added value to it. I've seen it.
We'll look into it and advise. It's not. I need to be advised appropriately and come back to the house.
Okay. On my understanding, we move to page 11. Page 11, page 12. I have a problem on page 12 myself.
Page 12 plus 24. Plus 24. The amendment is provisional that plus 24. The side don't say power to appoint representative. I just want to ask Mr. Minister, if this power to appoint representative by suppliers of digital service whose presence is not in Sierra Leone. They are staying outside, but they are providing digital service in Sierra Leone there. That power to appoint a representative, is it mandatory or optional? Because in my opinion, by appointing a representative, serve as a liaison between NRA and that representative in terms of tax negotiation and tax compliance and even follow-ups. Is to make it easy for NRA to know whom to contact in terms of tax compliance. So I don't know if that representative is mandatory or obligatory. I mean, optional. Because you use me.
So the problem is, there will be if the operator of that particular digital product actually knows that the digital product is being brought to Sierra Leone. Because, for example, most of us here, some of us will pretend, but I know it is true. I don't know whether my leader is part of my team, but most of us here are using DSTV from Nigeria. And I'm not sure the dealer, the license dealer in Nigeria knows that they are moving DSTV compartments or whatever gadgets to Sierra Leone for sale. But if he knows and he sees Sierra Leone as a valuable market, he will now approach the authorities and say, I'm going to appoint the Honorable AKK to be my vendor. So like some electrical products, you will see they will appoint people that are the principal distributors. So if anybody wants that particular product, you go to the person. I think that is what they're envisaging. Minister, am I right?
We need to know who are you targeting in terms of providing digital service, whether your presence is within or outside, who are you trying to target? That needs representation.
So you have entities like Amazon. You can have Amazon, for example. This Nigerian telecom service, I mean, TV services or the like. Those kind of services. So you need to have somebody in country. If you are, it should be mandatory. It's for that purpose.
When we move it from here to shall. Well,
if your intention is to make it mandatory, then the may should change based on your targeted people. If that's your intention, then the may should change.
but it also depends on the fact that the supplier or manufacturer knows that there is need for it and somebody is not smuggling it. So I think there are a whole lot of other dynamics in play. There are a whole lot of other dynamics in play. Because I see along Shakatini Street, I see somebody put out a billboard that is the official distributor for Starlink. So that person may have been appointed by Starlink to operate it here. So Starlink knows that yes, my product is coming to Sierra Leone. But in the event like most of us that are using Nigeria and destiny, most of you that are using Nigeria, they are paying your English. They are not paying taxes like you. They are using it. I've been to your house. I've never been to the house of the leader, but I'll visit him. And I'll visit him when Chelsea is playing, so I will know whether or not he's using it.
We won yesterday. And today we are going to see the defeat of our colleagues. So we are ready.
Mr. Chairman, my own intention is to ask the Minister of Finance, who are the targets, who are their targets, and what is their intention in terms of appointing representatives of those targets that they envisage? Who are their targets and representatives of those targets they are targeting?
So let me shed light on Starlink, for example. Starlink is provided by Elon Musk, whose company is maybe in the US. He has tax obligations in the US. He's providing services in Sierra Leone, but he's not paying the taxes effectively for those services here. So you have to have a representative here for whom the taxes associated with those services that our people are using here, that person is able to be targeted to pay the taxes. Because they are getting away with it in the country, not for Starlink, for Amazon, and those things that are rendering those kind of services, even for all those things, Alibaba and the like.
We have a medium to track them.
Oh yes, so that's the essence of all of that's how we are strengthening the entire digital service taxation laws in Sierra Leone, because it's a very complex tax system which we are trying to develop slowly and robustly. So these are just part of those things that are coming in to ensure that we strengthen the capacity of NRA. Now, I'm not a lawyer. The use of specific law languages that is tested with shall. Exactly. Thank you.
I like the way you have really argued out. It has been when you introduced the digital taxation, talk about the e-market system. In the committee room one, I was really baffled how.
Minister, I want to listen to leader.
I'm using this Starlink. I'm paying online. I have no piece of any agent here, to be very honest. You are paying now directly. I sometimes if I want to use I use my American bank card and pay. But I have decided to use my local card because I really want to see how we can beat that. So Minister, I want to admire you. You are facing it with both steps. The whole business is going down because of this online payment. Yes, it is going down. No matter what, and it is happening. He has done so much for this country for over 50 years. most people are involved in it, in compensation, because you are supporting the Nigeria market. And DSTV, if you have looked at the matrix, how they go about and give a new reduction, it's based on subscriber base. If you have few subscriber base, the lesser you pay. Yes, if you have few subscriber base, the lesser you pay. If you have small subscriber base, you have difficulties. I believe you have some facilities. I've been so much treatment, I discussed at the example yesterday, there's no 2 days ago. Our subscriber base is going to Nigeria. I mean, also, we are all consumers. For me, everybody is going for the lesser side and the same satisfaction. The Nigerian subscription is far lesser than the Israeli subscription. Our agents will have it. We are getting the same satisfaction. And that is what's affecting us. So I admire you when you said it's a whole difficult situation, but you want to start something. Perhaps it can satisfy people like Sabu and even the cyberspace we are using for the MOX. There is no way you are going to ask Americans to pay in tax of in America. Because if you pay our tax, if our cars are here now, so if you are using our bank, even our banks cannot even track our payments for Starlink. Yes, we are paying price automated. You pay at the end of every month. So for me, let us give you the due for us to start. But it's a whole complex situation if we don't control our cyberspace. And nobody can challenge that. I'm happy you said it. So what we need to do now, we have models now. If you don't have the law, you don't have the zest to go after what you can do. You can only call it if you now say, go up, yes, now say, look, go after the digital taxation. How do you do it now? You look for an expertise to get to address it. But if we don't create this space, we'll depress so many people have done so much for our country. Yes, we are getting satisfaction from both sides. But our conscience is really judging us. Are we doing the right thing as Iranians? Are we doing the right thing as Iranians? We have just brought down the whole business enterprise that has supported us like private economy, the biggest ever of us introduced to the sub-Sahara, donated by Administration. So for me, I think we need to give you a platform. So we start to look at how do we address it. So even you are in Nigeria, you have something to pay here. I mean, we are invading tax. We are invading. So we cannot wreck a business of our own, talking about protecting the infant industry, and we are talking about supporting somebody who don't pay anything to us. So I think if we don't give him the platform, Mr. Chairman, then we cannot solve the problem. Thank you.
So can we retain the May? Since
yes,
for a start,
yes.
retain May.
Yeah, you have to retain May. Because
as it progresses, he will give us an update on whether we change May to shall. So page 13. No, I have a problem on page 12 myself. Verse 21. The problem I have is why is it that we are buying ECI machines? The world has moved, and we should move with the world. That is what Minister is battling with now. We allow the world to move so far that we have to play catch up. People are using QR code. Why can't we find a system where we embed every tax into the QR code? Where once you scan it, me, what I do now, wherever I go, there is this false QR code in supermarkets. Wherever I go, I scan it, and the name of the entity comes, I pay. So government tax is deducted at source. Because if we continue to buy ECI machine, the point is our people are colluding with the businesses not to use them. So we are spending money and it becomes redundant. Minister, I think it should be part of your innovation to think around that so that we begin to have QR codes that is embedded with everything, with only GST and all. So when once you go to the supermarket, say give me government QR code. You scan it and you pay. It comes from the distributor supermarket. You give me my amount, I pay. No, you cannot give it because at the end of the day, I know I will not give you cash anymore. Because if you go to countries, you traveled. If you go to countries like Nigeria, when you go to the UK, even when you go to a barber shop, they have POS machine. You go to Nigeria, you go to Mama Boots, they have a POS machine. We need to up our game. Minister, what's your thinking?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, your suggestion is the pathway
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I was Chairman. I think I've had discussions with the professional. I did not meet the minister, but I think that the seat with the clerk just from the desk realize that first we need to have some implementation and see why honorable and the start. If you don't force them to register, we cannot get all of them. For those who know they are here, let them force them to register. So we can get rid of them so I can place amount of this. Those who cannot track it, I believe can look for the movement. How do we track those who are paying those who are paying the United States? So that I think you made the point that those who are not registered here, I think we can force them to pay some amount for the movement. And those online, they can now go after what they can say. But if you cannot force them to register now, so the average people are registered. For example, from Nigeria DSTV, they have DSTV. And for how do you call it? The Starlink, they have
Starlink, they have.
So we force them to
DSTV.
No, so that's what I say. I've done for something. They said they want us to give them power, but they are not saying they want us to give them the power to enforce those who are there, and they can use the technology to go after those who are not here. So I think we need to, they need a GST, of course. That's why the NFS and others are saying. So we did not see it coming from that way, but they are not saying we can force them, those who are here. They are trying to galvanize the base before going after those who cannot get rid of the PDGS. Because these are online. People are paying in Nigeria, we know. Some are paying here. Or you talk about the Starlink, there are agencies, and some are paying here. For me, I'm not paying here. So it's a whole challenge.
So I think what I think we should do is we made the perfect solution earlier. We leave it to the minister. Since he has started rolling out this effort, maybe they expand on their services and they may be able to track all of these online payments for us. Because if they could track the mobile network operators, their transaction, I am sure they will be able to do that if they are mandated to. So let's leave it as it is, and let him gradually roll it out, and then we can enforce it. But if we don't start the gradual rollout, enforcement at once will be difficult.
So what they are saying, the local, those who are registered locally. Those who are registered locally. There are two fronts.
The agents?
Yes, they have
registered.
No, they're not even registered. So, but they know where they are. That's why the FS is taking off.
Yeah, I can just go one more thing and say, give Mr. Cameron, give your package.
So that's what we said for giving the platform. So it's two ways. They cannot really track those online and something like this being automated. But those who are registered, they are not saying they have to go and regular, so force them to register. And they now come with a policy. I talked about NSoft and all that, how to track those who are paying online, but they are not getting any payment for the services that they are rendering here. That's why they are arguing. So they want to have the power to force them to register. I think makes sense. If you say they will be conditional, they don't want to be.
Minister, what do you think? You have two issues to respond to, my ECR and this one.
Yes, so the ECR, I think your proposal is in place. That's the path we intend to follow. But we currently have an existing system that is expanding for the ECR, and and government is investing. So we want to make sure that the taxpayers take on the responsibility to have a machine, because they will spoil the machine and the government has to pay to replace it. So yeah, they own the responsibility to be replaced once it's been given to them. That's basically what we are saying. But e-invoicing is something that NRA is working on, as you have proposed already for collecting taxes. On the issue around the appointment of rep, some of these entities from outside do pay. Like the leader is saying, he will pay in the US from here. Very complex process. But if you have a representative here, you start tracking the size of the transactions to attract taxes. So we can have May there, in my view, for now, to open the space as we work to understand exactly how huge the volumes of transactions are here. No, they will. I mean, well, some people are paying from outside.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman,
you can't.
Mr. Chairman, can we compare the two scenarios? Can we compare the two scenarios? Let's say you maintain name just because we are not fully developed, okay, to track the targeted entities, okay? But the disadvantage of that one is that even those who are aware, who would have come within our net, will use that name to avoid our nets and keep themselves outside the nets. That is one scenario. The second scenario, you use SHARP. With SHARP, it will be applicable to those we can trap into our nets. And then with that, we increase our capacity to bring more into the net. As we are able, and as the situation becomes applicable, we are able to bring them into our net. Rather than allow those who are supposed to come into their net to use a single word to avoid us. You know, I can appoint a representative or not. And representation here is just a matter of registration for me to know that you are operating in my country. You know.
And when yes, because in case they are caught, they will suffer penalty. So to avoid problem, then we don't understand. Because when we get this year, by the time we observe, you know, we'll go to the next Minister of Finance. If you want to start with the main, no, if you observe, it not be bad. It not be bad. If you avoid tax for the past 5 years, you catch it now, you're not going to swallow it. But it's not bound. For showing representation. Because optional. And who's guaranteed this? Next Minister of Finance.
Speaker, I move that we institute that we are said to have SHA. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
I so second, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion before us. All in favor of the motion that we substitute may for shall. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. May become shall. I'm sorry, Mr. Minister, when it comes to crunch time, they put it to vote. The voters said that we should substitute may for shall. Page 13.
Page 13, Mr. Chairman. The side note for clause 25 is just spacing amendment of second. So it's just spacing second line.
The side note for
clause 25 amendment of second schedule. So the spacing of and second.
amendment.
Page 13, just under page 13, the second line spacing of second. Spacing.
Okay, yes, yeah.
Yes, and then yes, as we go down a bit, description supply of water including sachet. We are missing the S.
On the same
Yes, just go down a bit.
supply of water excluding sachet.
Yes, we are missing the S.
Yes, it's sachet.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Page 14. On 13.
Is
Still on 13?
yes. At the same point where the honorable from Western Urban was saying, I just want the last words, and where the and is going down to be removed, Mr. Minister.
See the still water and industrial,
commercial, that's no problem.
high-end domestic use.
And that's where I have a problem. The domestic use. People who are in that category are not doing so because they have money. They are doing so because there is the availability is a crisis. So they are not doing so because they have money to afford it, or because they cannot get it from us, the state. So when they go to buy for their domestic purposes, that should not be taxed. I agree on the commercial basis. I agree for factories. I agree for all other areas, but when it comes to domestic.
So let's say, let it end at high-end, right?
Yes.
And high-end use. Remove domestic.
Yes, remove. I need more clarification on that.
Hold on. We are making law. I know it's a qualifier, but
you are suggesting that
the high-end use everything, Mr. Speaker. That's how that's a technical account.
So we take out domestic and leave it.
Yes, even the sachet. That is not fair.
Hold on. Remember, the top part is talking about including, and the bottom is talking excluding. So you're talking about excluding, or do you want it to be included? Because it's excluding.
So what happened to the sachet?
It's okay.
Sachet is including. Is supply of water including sachet water, but excluding.
Okay.
So sachet water.
No, but that's where I am. It's a mix. It's a mix. No, it is not fine. You removing industrial. You're removing commercial. It is not confusing. Explain, please, Mr. Minister.
But how will you include sachet and exclude bottle? I think it should be excluding at the top, excluding and then including. We should start with excluding sachet water and including all the others. Yes. That can suppose, so we should change it.
No, let me, Mr. Chairman, with your leave, sir. Let me make some clarifications. Well, let me make some clarifications. No, let me make the clarification. We are exempting sachet water from attracting GST. Yes, sachet water we are exempting. But for all other industrial, commercial, high-end Bowser buyers, yes, we are saying that. Yes, we are saying that Guma. Yes, Guma is a good place. It must attract GST, so that that entity can run well. This is really one basic area. They are not even, their tariffs are so low. We are not paying for water in the country. We are not paying tax on water in this country. We are not. The tax for tariff for water is so extraordinarily low that even I know some entities who are saying that they should tax me more for using water. I'll give you an example. And these are big firms here that have water. They get the Bowser water, but they're paying very low tariff on it. Now what we are saying here is to increase revenue. The GST on luxury goods. Although water is a necessity. Water is a necessity, but water for certain type of use, it's industrial and the like, is used for production and the following. So we have included among that, according to what is in the law, we have included along that line in the law, that category, this is a group of category of goods that are in the law already like that. We're including that when you're lifting in the bill that you pay. That's how we put a line here that there is a tariff you should pay by the volume that is lifted. So that's the tax you pay, the GST that you pay on that volume that is lifted, the value of the volume that you lift, you charge 15% on it. So that's what we are saying here. But for the water that is used as sachets for the people that are out there, it's not really attracting anything. So and what you are charging really is the service. You are taxing GST, you're taxing the good and the service. So that's what you're taxing, that the Goma Valley will be rendering to you. So that's the clarification I provided. And they want to just say high end use and removing domestic.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with the minister that water is not enough. I agree with you perfectly. Mr. Chairman, I'm coming from Komon-Tok. I have been in that community for almost 6 years now, and I've been buying water.
No, there's a challenge for water.
Exactly. And it is government responsibility to help with water. The government has not believe. So I have engaged Guma. And Mr. Chairman, when I moved to Komon-Tok, I was buying a Bowser for 600,000. Today, I am buying the same Bowser for 1.7 million. And if you are now going to add GST, it is going to be at the benefit of those people who will buy it. Because let's say, for instance, Boomer sells at 500,000 used to them, and they have to add GST. I will definitely have to pay the GST. And what they will do is to sell to me what they have included and make profit on the GST. When I went, I was buying 600 to that buy 1,600.
Not because I have they are over profiteering because exactly. When they go to the high grants, they buy for around 150, 200. Because Boomer sells with the intent that you are going to help them to reduce or alleviate the challenges to access water. Exactly. So when they buy from the high grant, they are buying at 150, 200.
And now let me tell you what happens, Mr. Chairman. Because Boomer is they are even claiming that Boomer is expensive. For people around, they go to there's a rolling stream at number 2. Where they go and get it. I have to insist that you must go and buy at Boomer. They go and bring water from the rolling stream just for them not to buy. And we are paying the same money when that those that are bringing water from Boomer are getting water from. So if you now add GST to this one, with the perception that we are high-end users, we are not. We thought we cannot afford that. My solar is the same like all of us, but I'm buying water because my father did not give me house at London, so I went to number 2. Komon-Tok. In fact, my community is called Komon-Tok. Mr. Minister, Komon-Tok.
No. You see, when he says Komon-Tok, you know when he says
we are fighting poverty.
No. In those days, Komon-Tok was a poor community. But now Komon-Tok is not a poor community.
Mr. Speaker, you are part of Komon-Tok. Mr. Speaker, we are even helping us in the road. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, so please, for some of us, we know the pains we are taking to buy this. We know. So please let us go. We are not high-end users. We are not. We are just buying it. And for a lot of people around that area, they are using these water that are running through the skin. It's not even good for their health. The entire community is using it. That's one part.
I think whether there is GST or not, the people, if you check what they buy at the islands and what they are selling to you, taking into consideration the operation and cost, you will see that they are over-profiteering. So whether they are GST or not, they will still add price at any time.
No, Mr. Chairman, where I come into this is the fact that if you go to Western area, most of the communities in Western area survive getting water through the tanks that have been erected by Guma. And those tanks are being run by people in those communities who buy it from Guma. So this, with this law you're putting now, when the people go to buy from Guma and there is GST, that GST will be sent again to the ordinary people in those communities, which will make water more expensive for use. What is the intention of the minister that is difficult to be captured here is the fact that he is thinking of people who are highly placed and who buy water. But when you go to buy from Guma, Guma cannot categorize who is Bashiru Siriki, a deputy leader, for who is Abu that buys for a community in Wellington. So we are saying as long as it is for community use, we can tax those other areas for commercial use. We can do that for the sachet and the bottle. But all other areas that have to do direct domestic use, Mr. Minister, any attempt to increase this, you're also increasing the rate of people drinking water that is not pure. The only hope they have in Grassfield is to buy a bounce of water from Kuma, put into the tank, and people come to buy. So if you put in this category for domestic use, Guma will just generalize everything and our people will suffer. That's my position.
So what's your proposal, Deputy Leader?
My proposal is to get this domestic high-end and domestic out of it.
Well, let us define who are high-end.
High-end manufacturing. You see, what I don't like is this. Honorable members, please take your seats. Since we started this bill this morning, the posture has been to support government and to be reasonable to ensure that government gets its due and our people are better served. Now we are at a point where members of parliament are becoming emotional. And you don't make law with emotions. The point is, if you that is sanctioning taxes are afraid of paying taxes, then there is problem. If you, the custodian that has the power in section 110 of the Constitution to impose tax or to relieve tax, you are afraid of paying taxes.
No.
So let's leave it as it is. The problem is
Mr. Chairman, please. Mr. Chairman, we are already paying tax. We are paying tax. What the minister is now proposing
is to add GST.
We are already paying. We are buying. So what are they doing with the money you are buying?
They are not paying. That is why now they want
to pay. What you should do?
People that are supplying are not paying.
They are buying from Guma.
They are buying from Guma.
And this same law
has cost the government.
No, don't say that. This same proposal that the minister is proposing now, the people who will be buying from Guma will be paying directly to Guma, and Guma in turn pays to the ministry.
But they were not paying GST.
Guma was not paying. Why?
No, they were not paying GST.
No. I can't do that.
Minister, there is no tax on water.
So why do we buy?
There is water tariff, which is different. Yeah, the tariff is different.
No, we are not paying tax.
Yeah, so there is no tax. There is no tax on water. It's really not. There is only a tariff. Yeah, it's a tariff that runs. You're paying for the services. Yeah, exactly. So that's what it's just like electricity. We introduce tax on energy, and then we have tariff for energy. So the tariff and the tax are two different things altogether. So we are introducing here. We are saving the sachet, which is heavily used by low-income earners. That's what we are doing. We are protecting that, but we are saying all other commercial, industrial, high-end users we introduce a tariff for them. That's basically what we are proposing here. So it's a bold new tax for a water is not properly delivered in the country, and the natural thing in Sierra Leone, we have not been used to paying tax on water. It is really just not there, and therefore that service, it is very difficult for us to invest in that sector, for example, right? So this is a very, very bold tax measure that we are taking, and it's being done. It's being done with a lens to raise revenue, but also to be able to make that sector robust enough. So this is something that I just want to get the House to come align on it, as just like we do for energy. It's the same thing we're trying to introduce for this infrastructure. This particular service, which is water service. Producing it, maintaining it, making sure that it's there. We're investing a lot in piping the systems and rehabilitating the water works, even in Freetown here and across the country. But we have to ensure that that particular sector is properly priced and properly taxed to be able to sustain those investments going forward. That's the boldness that we are bringing into this space.
Mr. Chairman, I think normally when we make laws, we always make provision for definition of key terminology. What is ambiguous here is the IN user. And I think, like the minister mentioned, even in the energy sector, you have categories. You have the social ban. There's a ban that covers the forest of the poor. So I think it was fitting that we create a category as to distinguish who are high-end users. How many liters per month, or based on the usage of water, that's the basis of intervention for high-end or low-end. I think we have to create a layer as to what constitutes high-end. But what I want to plead to the minister is the fact that the reality is most people now, they don't only depend on certain water. Even bottled water is now a source of water for the poor. So I think for start, much as it's targeting.
Honorable leader,
we can
do you actually mean what you said?
No, that's the truth.
What was like 5 news?
I know, but the reality is when your constituent
Sachet was at 20.
When your constituent organization function, they don't supply sachet water. They use bottled water.
Leader, hold on, and you have not tried it before.
Well, that's what.
When we are not opportune to buy bottled water,
yes,
and public college,
yes,
you buy B-man collection. Those who know, they know. You will find one bottle. When you cut one sachet, you fill it one bottle, and you will have some to sustain yourself. So you use it as substitute. So if you have 20 and 10 minutes, there is no way of buying 1 and 5 minutes.
Yes, my submission is GST different from other common service. This one is going to be borne directly by the service user. So if 15% of it is going to mean that 15% of the existing price is going to be added to what is already the price. So I'm saying for start, we can exempt the sachet water and bottled water, whilst we consider the other categories, taking into consideration of the distinction as to what constitutes the high-end user.
No, but this man, hold on. This man receives $15 million from IFC, supported by government guarantor.
But he's not going to pay the GST.
No, hold on. To finance in this industry. And this industry is giving him huge money. And he benefits from a single digit loan. So I see no reason why this man should not pay 15% to government for the water that he collects or is supplied to him to sell to us.
No, Mr. There are two categories here. When we talk about bottled water is not supplied by Guma. Bottled water is the bottled water that you have in front of you.
Yes.
So if it is going to attract 15% tax, it means there is directly going to be a 15% increase in the existing price. Amaki, this is not going to be paid by the producer of this bottled water. It's going to be paid by the service users and us.
No, it will not increase. Let me tell you something that you haven't paid attention to.
If it's on the corporation tax of that company, I can understand.
No, the fact is, it's not only this company. There are other indigenous companies that we are involved in sachet water that also are coming together now to move to bottled water. So if you increase, they will produce and they will sell.
Honorable Chairman, go ahead.
In settle now, let's move on. Page 15. 14.
Mr. Chairman, I suggest at the end of the day, let us have regulations. For instance, if you go to and if you clear the container, it is clear that you are moving to the far end or to this end, there are prices. So even when you have GST imposed, so we cannot be left in the hands of these drivers, these bouncers. Let us have regulations, for instance, for us living in the far west. The hydrant is at every corner. We will say regulations will come out. What we buy inclusive of the GST. If you are staying at number 2, considering the transportation and the profit, this is what it should be. So when we are buying, and I am buying from a private person, and there's a regulation, I will know the cost of a bouncers of 14,000 feet is this one. If I'm buying and I'm staying at Hamilton, this is what I'll pay. If I go down to Otaki and I'm clearing 40 feet containers, I am going to Hamilton. It is stated in the price list that this is what you should pay. And this
do they have a price list?
Yes.
But there is competition also there.
No, there's a price list. You can.
Yes, there is a price list. Yes. You can negotiate.
Exactly, there's a price list.
So it's the same.
What I would advise the minister, they should bring us regulations. Or the Buba Valley or Samapu should bring us the regulations.
So leader of government business. In addition to our business proposal for solar, let's include water bowser. But it's moving up. No one will serve you at a competitive rate. Myself and leader of government business, we are going to farm up a proposal. We're going to invest in solar and now water bowser. As you continue to speak, we'll expand our business proposal. Page 14.
Still on 14, Mr. Chairman. A quick one. So, from my copy here, the spelling for sachets.
Yeah, it's correct. You are outside.
You were outside.
Page 15. Minister, I have a problem on page 15.
Okay, I wanted to raise a point.
Clause 28. I believe, very so, and the provision that was enacted in 2019, in section 19, for this particular provision is sufficient. Transshipment. That was a solid enactment in 2019. Have you seen it? It's long, it's detailed. I think what we have not done on that provision is the fact that when we enacted that law, it made provision to install tracking devices on containers on the vehicle. And that is what they do in Guinea. Because most of the movements of heavy duty vehicles and whatever comes through Guinea. So what they do at the ports in Moke, when once it is the bill of lading shows that it is transshipment and it's loaded on the vehicle, they will track the vehicle until it crosses any of their borders. If it stops at any point, they will call. You don't stop Namamu. So nobody transshipment containers are transshipment containers. Nobody cheats them. And the provision in section 19 is sufficient, is strong. I don't know why you want to repeal that and replace it with. It's more or less a replacement because it also speaks to transshipment. If you look at section 19, it's more or less a replacement because it speaks of transshipment. I know transshipment is a problem. You know, when I read this session today, I see it as the presiding officer and also the chairman of the public account committee. So I see and I know a lot of things. So I know transshipment is a major problem, but we have not enforced the provision in section 19 in the 2019 Finance Act. If we enforce that, nobody is going to jump over us. I don't know whether I want to keep it or you want to have it.
Well, we are maintaining what is there. We are just replacing the customs commissioner to commissioner general. That's what we are doing there, but it's almost the same for what is in the previous act, the one in 2011 or 2018, I think. Yeah.
So
that's the only change.
Mr. Chairman,
from commissioner to commissioner general. That's what it is.
And that same 28, if at all we're going with it, the second line, we have two following. So to delete one.
Otherwise, we are deleting the following. I think we should still agree on it. And we'll come later. I agree with the minister.
Do we, honorable members, do you want us to proceed? We should not still agree. Minister,
in a speedy fashion.
Where is your council today? That's outside also the capability. Page 16.
Page 16.
Everything is less from
Page 16, Mr. Chairman.
It is like who I am.
No, I'm still laughing about the scenario of where the hunter becomes the hunted. Clause 30, under the different categories. 2, category B, vehicles. The second line, where it has equivalent for vessel, all of that to 15 seaters should come under the $1,000 on Leon's, because it's a continuation. It should be $1,000 on Leon's equivalent. So just category B vehicles should stay, and then the rest from equivalent to 15 seaters transferred to the right hand column of.
So category B vehicle equivalent for vessels and boats greater than 15 seater.
So it should be with category B vehicles, just it. Then the next under the category of levy imposed should be US $1,000 or Leon's equivalent. So that's equivalent, and the rest of it.
Okay, so it is category B of vehicles from, I don't know.
Category B vehicles, that's it. Then the rest to be transferred to the next column for it to read US $1,000 or Leon's equivalent for vessels and boats greater than. So that aspect from the second line to the last line to be transferred to the next column.
I'm confused.
Okay, let me help you. Again, you've been haunted. Category B vehicles.
Approach Mr. Chairman. Go to Mr. Chairman. It's easy. And we explain. Get that set you still get that set to the man said compressor online. You naturally get that.
Now I understand. I understand it now. Page 17?
No, page 16. 16.
Oh, we are still on 16.
16 plus 6(2). Process to Mr. Minister. Do you intend a conviction?
16?
6(2) plus. No. Page 16 plus 29. Sorry.
6(1).
6(2).
Okay, 6(2).
6(2). Upon imposing that penalty of $50,000, do you intend imposing that penalty upon conviction, or you have a way of doing it outside court? Okay, if you intention is after conviction, then it should be stated. We'll provide another rendition. But let me just know if you have your own way.
But I have,
or if it doesn't after conviction.
I have a slight objection before the minister responds. My objection is most times shipping agents do withhold manifest and bill of lading pending full payment by the consignee. That is something we did not take into consideration. There are times the consignee may not have paid in full, but because of their business relationship, the agent would ship the goods
on the understanding that by the time the ship gets to the port of discharge, you would have been resourced sufficiently to pay me. Then I hold the manifest as my collateral. So once you pay me, once you fund my account, I will now release the manifest. So if you are saying they should release 7 days before the arrival of the ship. So if the consignee owes the agent, how do you settle that?
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, on the broker.
I have told you, you are not approaching him as a leader. You are approaching him with the principles of seniority priorities.
Okay. I will arrange your eyes.
Yes,
I will arrange your eyes. Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, that's a different point. That's a different point or different concern that you have raised. You know, it's different from mine. I'm not saying yours is not legitimate, but maybe let us treat it separately. Maybe we treat yours under arrest of opportunity. I will take the back seat on that. Even though I raise mine first, but we can treat your own concern first, and after that we come to my own concern. My own concern is how do they intend to get this $50,000 penalty? If they intend getting that after conviction, then they need another rendition from us. But let us treat that of your own concern first. His own concern first.
Minister. Yes, so let me explain the intent. This is an administrative fine. It's a deterrent for us to get the manifest in the timeline that we require. Okay, so it's basically a deterrent. It's not necessarily an intent for them to default. We are trying to get them to avoid defaulting by providing the manifest.
No, it's different. In fact, that's the whole essence of penalties being made provisions against defaults. But usually when we do laws here, you know, we avoid, you will not be minister for life. You know, there will be another minister who may have the tendency to misuse his power. That's why whatever fine provisions we make, we usually do it upon conviction. Because this is presumed innocent until proven guilty. So you cannot, what about if you allow this law now, and then in the next 3-4 years, you are no longer Minister of Finance, another person comes, and then uses impunity out of bad faith, and I'll just go and meet you and say, you have defaulted $50,000. So that's what we need to clarify. But let us address the concerns raised by the chairman first. And I think you have a good explanation to that. Address the concern of the chairman first.
I agree. I think the challenge in addressing my concern also goes back to my reference to Section 19 of the Finance Act of 2019, which stated the mandatory list of documentation to be submitted by the exporter or the importer before the vessel arrives. So all of these documents are documents that constitute the information in the manifest. So if they are submitted before the arrival of the vehicle, or before the arrival of the vessel, it means this clause may not be needed. Because the point is, if the consignee has pledged, like I said, to pay the agents for the goods that have been imported by him, and the payment has not been made in full, whether there is a penalty in there, I don't know because you know the manifest. So it's on the understanding, even containers, and Honorable Kenny's here, even containers, if you pay and you do not meet the full payment, you will not be issued with the bill of lading, the original. You would have copy, and the copy cannot be processed through the system. So, Minister, I don't know whether we go back and push with enforcement from our people as customs, instead of punishing agents who, in good faith, may have shipped for consignees in Sierra Leone, who owes them, and they would want to rely on this provision to say, if you don't release the manifest to me, they are going to be fined $50,000.
Yes, I'm right. Additionally, so Mr. Speaker, is that we just have few reliable shipping agencies in Sierra Leone. Very few. So with this fine, I think it will limit those that are intending to join those shipping agencies that are here. But another catch there, Mr. Speaker, is that Mr. Chairman, for every container, if the owner fails to pay a certain amount that he's supposed to pay to the agency, they will not release that container. And hence that container is not released to the owner, you will not get the manifest. So imposing the release of that manifest to them and that fine, I think it will prevent so many intending investors to come to the country, because $50,000 is not something these shipping agencies are willing to let go. For instance, Bolori, 1,200 euros for let your containers sleep down there for days, for just 1,200 euros, let alone talking about $50,000. I think sorry, if you do not understand what is the argument, I just want you to understand, because some of us are into the business. They are saying shipping lines should submit. Yes, we are. I am. If it's not in my business is part of us. Shipping lines should submit manifest of shipping consignment, not individuals. We are talking about leader. We are talking about these shipping agencies. It is a company, I know. So if you say they have to submit a manifest 7 days before arrival to Sierra Leone, failing to do so, of which majority of these shipments, those customers are debtors to those shipping lines, failing to submit that to the Commissioner General, attract 50,000 families.
Mr. Chairman, can I be heard, please? Mr. Chairman.
Your point is serious and it's well noted, because I see it as a joint and mind.
Yes, my point here is, I think this clause, like I said, is a very fine clause. The reality is, whether it's an allegation or whatsoever, but what prevails is there is serious undervaluation of a whole lot of consignment that comes into account. So with this clause, Mr. Speaker, when once we enact it, it will be, because for the shippers, for the shipping agent, they give the real picture of the veteran. So it's difficult for those particular people to be altered. If you get them 7 days before arrival. But yes, mostly they are being doctor when they are here.
No, that is
but let me just complete. Yeah, let me just complete. On the fine, sir, the issue I have is because it depends on the value of the consignment. Just assume the value of the consignment is just around maybe $10,000 or $15,000. So if you find someone $50,000, the person will prefer to leave the consignment with you. And besides, the objective of government is for them to induce compliance. Simple. So let's have it at least, instead of having it 50,000, I say at least or not more than $50,000. So it is now at the behest of the Commissioner General to determine what will be the penalty, whether it is 1,000 or 2,000. Instead of saying 50,000, 52,000.
You see, we are dealing with the chairman. Hold on. You see, we are looking at the issue in isolation. We are looking at the shipping agent and the shipping agent itself. You should look at the shipping agent as a nominee of a person that is supplying in Germany, for example. And that person deals in whatever commodities with Honorable Eona Koma. Honorable Eona Koma, because of his business dealing with the person in Germany, can be given goods at half the price at the point of shipment, but he will only receive the goods when he pays the full outstanding. So if the supplier knows that there is a law in Sierra Leone, what happens is your consignment will not be released until you make full payments. Because he knows that if the ship leaves the port of discharge, coming to the port of loading, coming to the port of discharge, and 7 days before it gets to the port of discharge, whether anyone has submitted or made a full payment or not, is mandated to release the document. And when he release the document, he's at the loss. It's at the behest of you now to pay him or not.
No, Mr. Chairman, we are missing something. We are missing something. Let me explain this. If I am shipping to CLU and I'm dealing with a particular Chinese company, yes, they are shipping my goods in here. As you've explained, it is our personal relationship to sell my goods before I have paid. That is personal. That has nothing to do with the income of government. Government is not concerned about our personal relationship. If they decide to send my goods,
Honorable Joseph Abdul Bash Kamala and your counterpart. Your counterpart is allergy and all the police.
Yes, sir. Let me finish with this. Let me finish with this. That is a personal relationship that should not affect us as a nation for our government interest. What is government interest? Let's say it there for you. When they send this manifest, this one is from the shipping company to NIE. I have no hands in it. What will be your interest is for NIE not to give it to me if you want, if that's your problem. But as far as we are concerned, if I ship in 2,000 cartoons, if the company is sending it to NIE, I have no way to influence the number. But if it comes to me first, before I submit to NIE, I'll just submit 700. And that's what business people do. So what we are doing, we are trying to save the nation. Full disclosure, full payment before the goods, before it comes in contact with our, who is the person in charge.
Okay, so now,
Mr. Chairman, let me finish.
Hold on. I get your point now because of giving to me by the FS.
No, let me finish. For the penalty, I agree 50,000 is too much. We can say 25% of the total cost of the goods. 25%. No, 25% is good. So the person will not also abandon the goods. Because if it costs me 27,000, I pay 50,000.
Okay, so now I am comforted by the fact that there is going to be an additional clause to 6.1 that the shipping line should now submit the manifest to the Commissioner General. So there is somebody that is liable if that manifest gets to the consignee. So I think that's what is good. There is somebody at the top that is liable if he releases that manifest to the consignee. So yes, say a shipping agent shall submit the electronic manifest 7 days before the arrival of the vessel to the Commissioner General NIE. And to the fine, I think 25% of the value of the goods is also due. I think that is fair. 25% of the value of the goods. No, he's not legit. So you see, when people see us walking in the street, they say these are members of parliament, they are paying them for nothing. You see what we are doing here? We are doing a good job. Page 17.
Page 17, Mr. Chairman. First of all, under category C, motorbikes, we remove the reverse of the mass.
Category C,
motorbikes, we remove the reverse of the mass.
Everywhere is cool, they will tell you bracket open. Bracket please. You want to go to bracket?
Now, under the mortgage, 27(1). It should read, subject to this section, there shall be a fixed set number of demurrage-free days for importers and exporters.
So there shall be
a fixed. So we delete the 3 days in the second line.
Okay, so 3 days will also be a fixed.
Subject to this section, there shall be a fixed set number of demurrage-free days for importers and exporters, because we have export and they should be exporters.
Okay.
So
there shall be a fixed set of
a fixed set number of days demurrage-free days for importers and exporters.
Yeah, 27 too.
No, that
except 27 too. Yes, there should be after this. You should consider excluding Sundays and public holidays, because Saturday is a calendar day now.
Exactly. That's my issue as well. Okay. The use of the word calendar is Sunday.
No, calendar days now and NIE is Mondays to Saturdays.
Okay.
So
but if it is kept like this,
yes,
it has a tendency to be understood by
so
many taxpayers.
So now it's excluding Sundays and public holidays.
So let's have the new rendition.
Yes, Saturday is a calendar day at NIE. They're okay because of work on Saturday. So it reads the same. It becomes the demurrage-free days referred to under subsection 1 shall be 10 calendar days, excluding for both importers and exporters, excluding Sundays and public holidays. Minister, are you not doing it?
So the excluding comes after exporters.
Yes. Page 18.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
The first line on page 18. Is it marking in relations? Yes. Is amending and inserting together. Minister. 31 years plus 27 2. At the end of the sentence, after exporter, we have including Sundays and public holidays. Because Saturday is now an official calendar day. At the cost of so. Is that okay? Doing the non-demurrage-free days shipping, non-demurrage-free days, shipping line shall apply demurrage and storage charge per container and calendar days.
Mr. Chairman, I advise the Ministry of Finance and the NIA. The fact that we are passing this law now, and the law should come into effect on the 1st of January 2020, they should start that transition now. So, and they should encourage the shipping lines to work on their system. We should not wait until the 1st of January and the shipping lines will tell you they have to spend 3, 4, 5 months to work on their system to have it right. Please, the shipping lines should know that Sunday is not working. And they should now begin to work on their system. Since this law is passing, since we are passing this law today or tomorrow, they should begin working on their system. On the 1st, we will not encourage any shipping line to come with excuses. We will not. Because I have sat at a meeting where they will tell you, oh, they have to work on their system from their parents' office, and they will have to spend 4 or 5 months. Please, Mr. Minister, please, NRA, make sure you communicate to them once this law becomes a law, and they should start on the 1st of January 2026.
Thank you very much.
I think if I want to put the comments on the deputy leader, I would say let us, at the end of this day today, encourage the office of the clerk of parliament to expedite the process to complete this bill. We take all the considerations into all the amendments into consideration. We go through it and we present it to the president for his signature. Well, once it is signed, the ministry is under obligation to present it again. So, well, once it is public, it becomes an issue of ignorantia due non excusat. Yes, ignorant or less excuse, they should know. Because a law does not come to us without consultation. So I believe part of the people that were consulted are the Shipites. So when once the law is signed in time and is in public, they should follow up in the environment that they operate.
They know.
So you don't need to go and take the phone again and tell them, hey, na 7 years old, hey, na 2 months old. They should know it's not public.
Popularization is part of the
Popularization, give it to them. You want to popularize the business? You want to take parliament to people?
Mr. Chairman.
So page 18.
Page 18, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, I just want to.
I'm going to end at 6:30.
I just want to.
Komon-Tok is how we voice. Armies who really make the choice from politics to health. We stand firm. Migration of us, we come from. Komon-Tok, the place to be. We the young care for you and me. Komon-Tok, oh yeah, we did. For the future, we pave the way. We talk about the health, we need them for survive. Make the system better so we people could thrive. Entertainment, they speak the music, the flow. But we still go on the things we need to know. Political leaders, make when I hear the cry. We could talk, come here, no we know go lie. Now Komon-Tok, we did stand for the truth. Make we rise for the sake of the youth. Ooh, Komon-Tok, you gon' hear we loud. We no go hide, we gon' make we proud.